What's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again. This is Jeremy, and you are listening to the Crew First Culture podcast. Thank you very much for your time. Today, going to kind of continue really I guess if you want to call it the format or whatever, but just how things have been playing out here lately, the last few episodes, just kind of sharing some thoughts of, the book of thoughts, or whatever you want to call it. For those watching YouTube, this is the new notebook journal slash whatever that I got. Pretty cool. It looks like it's about 300 years old, but it's not. But like I've said, I I've really enjoyed. I haven't enjoyed the process of moving everything over into the book, but I have enjoyed going back and looking at some things that I've not thought about in a long time. Some things that have spoke to me in the past that I really haven't even it hasn't even crossed my mind because I'm in a completely different space, but it's still impactful to me, and I still remember how that really made a again impact it made an impact in my life at the time. And so today's message that I want to share is something that is very important, I feel like, and kind of briefly touched on it with my during my conversation with Danny B on the Student of the Game podcast, but really want to dig in a little bit deeper. And so it's the thought that never place your identity in something that can be taken away. And so, you know, I'll get into really even the last lesson I've learned with this here in a little bit, but I think it's so important for anybody, especially in the realm of first responders or even military. I think, and I've never served, so please take what I say regarding military very lightly because I'm just adding my opinions to something I don't know about. But I feel like this area is a big concern with military personnel as well when they are done with the military, and they come back to the real world, and they come back to a normal life, and have to kind of adjust. And that's the identity. What is your identity? Are you a firefighter? Are you a soldier? Are you a police officer? Are you a preacher, a bank teller, whatever it is? And if that's the case, if that's something that you firmly plant your identity in, what happens when that gets taken away? What happens when that injury occurs and we can't perform the job anymore? What happens when you're in that time frame that it's time to move on? It's time to retire and hopefully enjoy the next chapter of your life when you're not a firefighter. What happens then? Because a lot of people struggle with that. I see people just hanging on to the fire service well after they want to or should, and not because they love the job, but because that's all they are. That's all they know. They don't know what to do or what to be outside of the fire service. And I understand that. I am sure that there have been times in my life and my career that I fell into that until I started realizing some of these things, and how important it is to truly plant an identity somewhere that is safe and is not able to be disturbed. And so that's kind of the biggest thought is where are you placing your identity? And is it somewhere that is safe and is protected, or is it something that can be taken away? Because if it is something to be taken away, we really need to look at placing it somewhere else. And it doesn't even have to be just what I'm talking about. I in one of my classes, I give an example of one of our kids. I as kids grow up, if you've had kids that, became teenagers and start driving, and then even start to they graduate and they kind of move on in their life, man, it's a hard time for the kids, obviously, because there's a lot of awakenings that they are coming upon, but it's a hard time for the parents as well. I promise you that, or at least that's how I have seen it. That's how I felt. And one of those situations is, one of our kids just, man, they wanted a fast car. They wanted a sports car so bad. It made no sense. The money made no sense. The insurance made no sense. The upkeep on it made no sense. The time of life that they were in, it just did not make any sense. And we tried and tried and tried to rationalize with them that, we understand this is what you want, but you have to please trust us when we say this is not the time for that. There will be a time in your life that, yeah, that's an option that makes sense and that is supportable, but right now is not it. And it was frustrating. It was everything all the way in. I would say it was heartbreaking because it just couldn't get to through that barrier that was there. And so, you know, kids being kids, and especially in this situation, he was old enough to make his own choices. And so he made his own choice, and that's perfectly fine. We have to respect that. But just to see, some of the things that down the road, the ripples of that decision caused, it was hard. And how I am not doing a very good job yet of tying this together, but it it just really appeared to me, or really became clear to me, that that car was his identity. It truly was so much to him. It meant so much to him, and almost to the point where you could tell that he didn't want to give it up just because of the. And again, I'm just speaking for what I perceive the situation, but the identity that gave him was too important. It was too valuable, and he held on as long as he could. Thankfully, things have changed, and yeah, financially, it was it was something that he had to take a hit on. But I am proud of just the fact that he was able to do that, to step away from it, to say to himself, this car is as cool as it is, as nice as it is, fast as it is, whatever. It's not who I am, and I am still who I am with or without this. But to as a parent to see that, see one of your children placing their identity so firmly in something that just, for one, it wasn't a great place in the first place, but for two, it was something that so easily could be taken away. If it got wrecked, if it got, whatever, if couldn't pay for it and had to get rid of it, or if finally, like he did, sell it and he doesn't have any more, then what are you? I used to be somebody that drove a really cool car. Now I'm not. Well, no, you're the same person. You used to have a fast car that people liked looking at, that you couldn't afford, but you're still the same person. So what are we putting our identity in? Are we are we putting our identity in the job we do, the career we're at, the type of cars we drive, the flashy suits we may wear, whatever it is that who we like to show off who we are? Or are we allowing ourselves to be transparent and vulnerable and truly let people see the real us and let people get to know the real identity that we have? So for me, identity is it's something that I, I'm sitting here almost trying to pause a little bit because I feel like it's changed quite a bit. And, you know, I've had to learn a lot of things this year with identity. So for those of you, some of you know some of you don't know anything, but this year due to some circumstances, I was a captain and am no longer a captain. And so during that process, beforehand, I would have told you that, I don't think the rank and that title really means that much to me. I've never asked anybody to call me captain. I've never, you know, I've never looked at myself like I, I need to be known as that. I've never put captain on anything, of the things I do, whatever. It's just it was what I did, but I didn't feel like that was really a part of something that I just held on to. But when I lost it, there was a time that I had to really look and reflect on where I was at because turns out it did mean a lot to me, and I will say that it meant a lot to me because I put so much into it. I invested so much of myself into that position and into that crew and everything. It wasn't because I loved the authority or that I loved the recognition. Had nothing to do with that. Which that's kind of why I thought I didn't have much into it. But realizing how much I had put into it and now it's gone. Now all of that work to create that culture is gone. All of those relationships that I built, gone, kind of. I will say that's not completely accurate. I mean, I still have those relationships, but the working relationship with the crew, I guess I'll say, was gone. And just so many little things like that. And so it was really hard to work through that. I didn't have a hard time didn't have a hard time finding the other end of it because that's a question I've asked myself many, many times. Who am I? What am I about? What is my purpose? All these self-reflection questions. I mean, I truly do a lot of that and have done for a couple of years now, at least. And so it wasn't just a lengthy, dark period that I had to get through for this one particular, topic. But it was something I had to work through, and I had to start to realize. And going back to the journal, I remember writing. The literally the it was either that same day that I got demoted or the next day I wrote, you know, am I different now that I am firefighter Sanders than I was 24 hours ago when I was Captain Sanders? And, you know, just to sit in that for a while. And the obvious answer is no, I'm the exact same person. That one thing changes nothing about me. Yeah, it changes a lot of things exteriorly. I know that's probably not a word, but it changes a lot of things on the outside of me, what things look like, how my job is going to be now, all kinds of different things. But the biggest and really only question that means anything is, am I any different? And the answer was no. I'm not. I'm not any different. And really, the further I went into it, maybe that question or maybe that answer really was yes, I am different, but it's not in the bad way. It's I'm I'm growing. I'm better. I'm stronger. So yeah, I am a little bit different, but it's not different in a bad way because something was taken away from me. It was different in a good way because I started realizing that I don't I don't want authority. I don't want to, have permission to be a supervisor. I just want to lead. I just want to lead people. I just want to try to make a difference in people's lives. And you literally do not have to do anything rank wise, or you don't have to acquire anything rank wise to do that, or position wise. Anybody can do that at any time, any job, any place you're at. In fact, I think that now that I've really seen both sides of the coin a couple times over, I feel like that informal leadership position is maybe even way more important because it's more pure. It's more just honest leadership. Not saying that formal leadership is dishonest, but when you're a formal leader, you're tied to a lot more. You're tied to, politics. You're tied to what your boss wants and all this. Well, when you're just an informal leader, if you are doing it in a wise way, in a respectful way, you don't have all of that. You can just lead through life. And so, man, I've really, really enjoyed that. Just removing all the extra crap and just being a leader or just trying to focus on that. And so that's something that, in this topic, I had to learn. I had to learn that, my identity does not lie in my rank. Yes, it truly, even still, it makes me sad to think about what is gone, what was lost, the effort that was put into it. But that is going to pale greatly in comparison to the the testimony that I have now, the story that I have now, the message that I have now that I can share and, man, impact so many more people. And so just trying to look at it from that perspective. And so for identity for me, I'm a husband. I'm a struggling husband. I'm a very wishy-washy, ADHD brained husband, but I try to do my best every day. I'm a father, same type of father, but I'm trying to do my best every day. I I am somebody that was placed here for a purpose. And yeah, that I have a pretty good handle on that, but I'm also open to how it changes. But I know what I'm here for. And so, all that together, I'm here to serve. I'm here to do the best I can to make the biggest difference in somebody else's life, whether that's my wife, whether that's my kids, whether that's my friends, my coworkers, people that are listening to this podcast, whatever it is. That's why I'm here. I love my job. I have no idea what I would have ever done if I wasn't in the fire service. And it's truly been the vehicle that has brought me along my journey to find my purpose, but it is not who I am. I could retire fairly quickly, and yeah, there's some things I would miss, like the people that hanging out with the crew. But I would be so excited to continue on the path of finding and pursuing that purpose, and that's what I would be focused on. I don't have a problem stepping away from that. And so it's just some thoughts. What are you placing your identity in? Is it something that is healthy? Is it something that's not? Or are you truly tying yourself to something that can be taken away? And if that's the case, just think about what that would look like if tomorrow it was gone. What would be your identity then? So if that's a hard question to answer, or if that's a hard thing to visualize, then this is something that you need to spend some time reflecting on. And I say that from personal firsthand experience because I had to. So that's the thoughts for today. Before I go, before I forget, I there's been something that I've been wanting to do for years, and just can't ever remember to do it. If you're watching YouTube, it's been scrolling on the bottom the whole time. But I trying to think of where I heard it. Some podcasts that I've listened to in the past. Uh, they do think it's one of Patrick Lencioni's podcasts, but just kind of in a fun way, they do these free advertisements of things that they like. And I thought that that would always be a cool idea. And so today I've got my Insight Fire Training shirt on, and that's going to be the episode's free advertisement for today. I'm not getting anything out of it, but if you don't know what Insight Fire Training is, it's ran through Andy Starnes, one of the best people that I know. Just a great guy, a great family guy, amazingly smart in the field of the thermal imaging cameras and thermography. And he has surrounded himself by some amazing people as well, and some really smart people as well. And so if that's something that you don't know about, or if it's something that you are interested in, go to insighttrainingllc.com. They've got tons and tons of classes. A lot of them are free, some of them that you can pay for that are longer. You can schedule with them, contact, whatever. There's YouTube, that probably hundreds and hundreds of hours of content there. So love those guys. I've been in a couple of their classes, and I look forward to the next one that I get to go into. So that's the free advertisement today. Go check that out, insighttrainingllc.com. So that's all I got today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'm so thankful to be back in a mindset that I can do this and share what's on my heart and mind. So I appreciate it. And remember, no matter where or what you came from, great things can come from you. We'll see you.